Greetings everyone, and welcome to the BlastCast. I am Jarvis, and with me as always is the man who loves Factorio making stuff, Lightning Dragon.
Something like that.
He's going for this lazy achievement.
Yes, which actually isn't lazy at all, because you have to jump through so many hoops.
Ah, irony. Before we get started, I do want to make a quick announcement. There may not be regular shows for the next couple weeks, and there's a twofold reason for that. One, two people at my job are basically in the hospital for miscellaneous mishaps. One has heart palpitations, the other one got bit by a dog and almost lost their hand. So it's one of those things that we're short-handed, well, in this case, literally. And I had to fill in a lot. Also, as well, I'm going to be looking at retooling some of the things. I've, as you've already noticed, updated the intro a little bit. And you may notice during the course of this, depending on how long the show is, I've been updating the music. I'm trying to make a more even-leveled audio on the music in the background so it doesn't blare anything out and I can more easily blend it together. So let's get into this week's Around the Verse. The first thing I want to talk about is this sound system they came up with for these containers that roll and bounce and whatnot, and I'll let you listen to it here. That is amazing work. I have to give them absolutely credit on that. I was blown away. Fantastic audio work. They showed up the 300 series rework, and I really like some of the changes on there. I do have a few critiques, but before that, I want to get into one thing with the wider body that I kind of like to see. The 315P is the Explorer variant. I'd like to see them with this wider body add 2 seats to the front. I'll throw some pictures of the 85X since they're kind of following that aesthetic. And it'd be interesting to have a very small exploration ship that you can bring one buddy along. I don't see why they couldn't do it. I think the 315P would be perfect for that. Now, generally speaking, I do like the rounded nature of the front. It does look a little front heavy. The back engines look kind of small, but it's not a finished work. And the big complaint I have about it, if anything, is that the wings kind of look like, much like the 600i, they're kind of like tacked onto it. It would be nicer if those wings were a little bit smoother or smoothly curved into the body or curved back instead of being a very sharp angle. It seems to be in contrast to the smooth lines of the rest of the ship. Some people have also pointed out that the cargo bay basically drops down from the bottom now, which is great because one of the backers had suggested that a long time ago. Some people in the forums were concerned that it looks like there may not be enough clearance to use that effectively. I guess we'll have to see how it comes out, but that's definitely something to pay attention to.
It might restrict the size of cargo you can put in there, like only small and medium boxes as opposed to like, a large box or something.
Yeah, I think it says it could be like 8 SCU or something like that. That's actually pretty good. It actually kind of makes it a competitor with the Avenger, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit. If only it wasn't so damn ugly.
Eye of the beholder. On to calling all devs. Well, everything in this one pretty much is something I'd like to talk about. They talked about what changes are currently in the works for 600i. Now, as an owner of the 600i, this does actually interest me. Obviously, it was really underpowered. It would shut off when in atmosphere. It was given medium-sized components when it should have large. And frankly, in some regards, it needs more tuning because it needs to have parts, or at least more power than a Constellation, being that it's bigger and needs to operate. Generally speaking, it just needs to have a bit more. It doesn't need to be overpowered. It just needs to be comparable. And it needs to have those high-end parts that a luxury ship is supposed to have. That's the point of it. Now, they did say that they are looking at, in the future, not right now, down the road, TM, possibly changing the weapon placements because they did admit they are kind of ugly. And also some interior work will be done. Not going to do any major geometry changes to the ship itself as far as structure. They may take some of that feedback and hopefully they do the little things and mostly get those turrets, the little rebar, little neck handle thing that holds the turrets on dealt with because that just looks ugly. Another question was asked was, when will missiles work? This was very interesting to me.
What an excellent question. It's like
indeed.
We've been talking about this for a while now.
Exactly. Missiles went from LA to Frankfurt as far as being developed. And they use something called the MGCS, which is kind of an IFCS. It's called the Missile Guidance Control System. They have a lot of issues with it because it even moves faster than the IFCS has to deal with on ships. If a faster object using something similar to the IFCS is having even more problems than the IFCS, Maybe this might be a clue that your pacing is too high. If you ramp it up and it gets worse, it's a Scooby-Doo mystery.
It hurts when I breathe. What should you stop doing?
Exactly. There's no current time frame for the fix on the missiles. They're looking into it. For those impending missile boats, you're kind of boned at the moment. Another question was about filtering out different locations on your HUD in the future, and that's going to be happening most likely through the mobiGlas first, but they first need to develop the different iconography so they can filter out everything through different shapes and make it quick to see. Also, once again, there's really no time frame on that. And lastly, they were interested in dialogue-driven purchases. They're like bartenders or buying a beer or going to a black market dealer and asking him what his goods are, because obviously he's not going to have a kiosk right next to him that's publicly available saying, here's my illegal goods. And this is actually going to be implemented. The first implementation will, of course, be the bartenders, so we can all get drunk and then drive our ships.
Yeah, because, when was it that they introduced the drunk mechanic before we even had the persistent universe?
Yeah, I had that bar in my hangar.
Yeah, they brought it up. We made this drunk effect one day, back when they did things that were fun and interesting.
Now, of course, the forums are on fire. The flight
is... When are they not?
When are they not? Well, they're... Okay, the fire rises. It's actually a bit hotter, if you will. Even the most die-hard backers or supporters of the current flight situation are like, I quit. So we're getting closer to that scene of that crash. So we just have to keep our eyes open, but I think this is a good thing. The worse it gets, the more attention's going to be drawn to it. Eventually, they can't be ignored because flying ships is really the soul of the game. It's the heart. It's
going to be like 80% of the game, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can walk around and stuff, but usually you get out of your ship to go get things for your ship. That's like the whole point of the entire game.
Yeah, so as I said, the worse it gets, the better it is for everyone, I think, because it'll hit a critical mass, and that's what we need at this point in time. With a point where not even the fixes work, and they just have to stop and go, okay, whoa. We need to step back and look at this. And maybe by that point in time, they'll actually start looking at some of these suggestions being put out there. Who knows?
DIG can do no wrong.
Indeed. All right, and lastly, I have a request for anyone who actually watches this show, at least makes it this far. Down below, if you could leave your comments or suggestions about things you'd like to see done differently in the show, as far as maybe graphics or music or any sorts of things that you think could be improved upon, because during this next couple weeks, when I'm more focusing on doing retooling, this would be a great time to get some of your feedback and kind of see what I can do with it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be able to do everything that's in the comments, but I'd like to, generally speaking, get your thoughts. All right, on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I have to go to work early again tonight because obviously I'm covering for all the people who aren't there. So we will catch you on the next one.
Whatever that's going to be.